How does international law view such an action? And with ongoing debates over presidential decision making authority, do you think the institutional balance between the White House Congress needs reform, as some argued that Congress wasn't notified about this?
Well, let's take the international law aspects first. It's been the U.S. position for quite some time. Again, going back to Trump's first term, when Maduro stole the 2018 presidential election, the Venezuelan National Assembly declared the office of the presidency vacant because the election was stolen and named Juan Guaido interim president. We then recognized Guaido as the legitimate leader of Venezuela and justified our support in the opposition's efforts to overthrow the Maduro regime as simply trying to put the legitimate government back in place. In other words, Maduro was a usurper. He wasn't the legitimate head of Venezuela. The circumstances are a little bit different now, but not that much different. 6 years later, in 2024, Maduro steals that year's presidential election, and Edmundo Gonzalez, the opposition leader who won, is the legitimate president of Venezuela, and he and Maria Corina Machado have supported U.S. efforts to oust the Maduro regime. So we're not going after a legitimate head of state. We're going after a rogue leader of a basically a criminal gang that's ruled Venezuela, sadly now for almost 30 years. So I think what we did, and what we did, hopefully in some coordination with the opposition, was within international law. Now, on the separate question of what is required of a president under the Constitution of the U.S., Congress has the power to declare war. That is to say, to state that war exists between the U.S. and another combatant. It helps define the legal relationships between the combatants, between the combatants and their allies, the combatants and their trading partners, and others. But Congress does not have the power to make war. The framers specifically considered that and limited Congress's role to declaring war. And really, it goes back to the very beginning of the country. The president's commander in chief and his authority to use force when necessary is clearly within the limits of the Constitution. You can debate the wisdom, the political prudence of acting without going to Congress first. And this case is a good example of that, where Congress felt left out, and now there's a lot of opposition in Congress for that reason. But that's a political and prudential question. It's not a constitutional question.